The air in Il Giardino was thick with the scent of garlic, simmering tomato sauce, and quiet desperation. Deacon Sharp wiped the same spot on the marble counter for the third time, his eyes fixed on the woman nursing a glass of water in the corner booth. Sheila Carter. She looked small today, diminished. The fiery, maniacal gleam that had once promised a painful death to her enemies was replaced by a pale, drawn exhaustion. She wore a soft, cream-colored cardigan that seemed to swallow her, and every few minutes she'd bring a tissue to her lips with a cough that was more of a dry, rattling gasp. His heart clenched. It was a feeling he despised, not the clench of fear or fury he'd felt for years whenever her name was mentioned, but the sickening, tender lurch of worry. He was Deacon Sharp, a man who'd conned his way across state lines, who'd slept with his daughter's mother-in-law, who'd clawed his way from the gutter. He wasn't supposed to be the sap falling for the town pariah, but here he was. He slid into the booth across from her, pushing a small plate of breadsticks toward her. "You haven't touched your soup." Sheila looked up, and for a moment the mask slipped. There was a flicker of the old calculation in her eyes, there and gone, replaced by a pale, watery gratitude. "I'm sorry, Deacon. My appetite, it comes and goes." She coughed again, a phlegmy, theatrical sound that somehow still managed to twist his insides. "Dr. Campbell said you need to keep your strength up for the treatment." Sheila's lower lip trembled. "The chemo is brutal, but it's my only chance, isn't it? The doctor said if we don't attack this aggressively, the pancreatic cancer, it's a fast mover." Pancreatic cancer. The words hung between them like a death sentence. A few weeks ago, Sheila had shown up at his door, not with a threat or a scheme, but with a medical file, a diagnosis, stage 2. She'd cried, real, messy, ugly tears, and confessed she had nowhere else to go, no family, no friends, only him, the man who'd once seen a sliver of good in her. Deacon, the reformed bad boy, had fallen for it like a ton of bricks. He reached across the table and took her hand. It felt cold. "I'm not going anywhere, Sheila. We'll fight this. Together." Just as the words left his mouth, the little bell over the kitchen door jingled. Deacon glanced up, and his blood ran cold. Taylor Hayes stood in the doorway, her designer handbag slung over her shoulder, a startled expression on her elegant face. She wasn't a regular here. In fact, she'd rather eat glass than step foot in a place owned by the man who'd once been entangled with her daughter, Steffi. But the rain had started suddenly, a classic Los Angeles downpour, and Il Giardino was the closest awning. "Deacon," Taylor said, stiffly, her eyes darting to Sheila and narrowing, "I didn't realize you were open for consultations." Sheila pulled her hand back from Deacon as if burned, her face crumpling into a mask of terror. "Taylor, please, don't make a scene. I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm sick." Taylor's laugh was short and bitter. "Sick? You? The woman who shot my daughter? Who held Steffi hostage? Who cut off her own foot to escape justice? That's a new one, even for you, Sheila." Deacon stood up, placing himself between the two women. "That's enough, Taylor. She's telling the truth. Pancreatic cancer, stage 2. She's getting treatment at Cedars-Sinai." Taylor's gaze flickered to Deacon, then back to Sheila. The psychiatrist in her, the part that had diagnosed 1,000 liars, was suddenly wide awake. She saw the too pale makeup, the subtle tremor in Sheila's hand that started exactly when she wanted it to, the way her exhausted posture still managed to hold a certain dramatic tension. "Is she now?" Taylor said softly. She pulled out her phone. "I have a friend on the oncology board, Dr. Lehman. Let me give him a quick call. If she's a patient, it's public record for internal referrals." Panic, real primal panic, flashed across Sheila's face for a split second before she smothered it with a weak groan. She slumped forward, her head hitting the table with a soft thud. "Deacon, the room is spinning." Deacon rushed to her side, cradling her head. "Taylor, for God's sake, have a heart. Look at her." Taylor didn't look at Sheila. She looked at the breadstick plate, the untouched soup, the glass of water with no condensation on it, meaning it had just been poured, not sitting there for an hour as Sheila's weakness suggested. She looked at the medical file peeking out of Sheila's tote bag, a file with a generic hospital logo that was slightly crooked. "Deacon," Taylor said, her voice dropping to a low, urgent whisper. "Don't be a fool. You're a grifter. You know the playbook better than anyone. The sympathy play, the terminal illness, it's the oldest con in the book." "You don't know what you're talking about," he snarled. "Don't I?" Taylor raised her eyebrow. "Then you won't mind if I wait. The rain is stopping. I'll just sit at the bar, have a glass of Chardonnay, and watch." Sheila's fainting spell lasted precisely 4 minutes. By the time Deacon had propped her up with pillows and brought her a fresh glass of water, Taylor was perched on a bar stool, her wine untouched, her eyes boring into the back of Sheila's head. An hour passed. The lunch rush came and went. Deacon tried to get Taylor to leave, but she was a statue. Finally, Sheila announced she was feeling a little better and needed to use the restroom. She shuffled toward the back, her movements slow and painful. The moment Sheila disappeared through the door marked private, Taylor slid off her stool and walked toward Deacon. "Follow me," she said. "I'm not leaving the counter." "Don't be an idiot. Come with me or I'm calling Ridge right now and telling him you're harboring a fugitive from mental wellness." Grumbling, Deacon followed Taylor through the swinging kitchen doors. The cooks looked up, confused. Taylor ignored them, pulling Deacon toward the narrow hallway that led to the storage closet, the office, and the restrooms. She pressed a finger to her lips and pointed. The door to the private staff restroom, the one the customers didn't know about, was ajar, and from inside came a voice, not weak, not trembling. It was rich, amused, and dripping with malice. "Yes, I know, sugar. He's eating it up with a spoon. Oh, poor Sheila, let me get you another pillow." A low, cruel laugh echoed off the tile. "No, the file is perfect. Dr. Campbell is a real oncologist I paid $5,000 to sign a blank letterhead. The lab results? I printed those myself. Photoshop is a wonderful thing." Deacon froze. His blood, which had been running cold, now turned to lava. Taylor peered through the crack in the door. Inside, Sheila Carter was leaning against the sink, her posture straight, her eyes sharp as knives. The cream cardigan was unbuttoned, revealing a vibrant silk blouse beneath. She was holding her phone to her ear, a manicured nail tapping the porcelain sink. "Pancreatic cancer," she snorted. "Please, I've faked worse. Remember when I pretended to be a nun to get visiting rights with Finn? This is a walk in the park. Deacon is so pathetically desperate for love, for redemption, that he'll believe anything. He's already talking about marrying me. Marrying me? Can you imagine? Mrs. Deacon Sharp. No, wait, he wants to take my name, Sheila Sharp. It has a ring to it, doesn't it? Alliteration." She paused, listening to the person on the other end. Then her face twisted into a snarl of pure, unadulterated hatred. "The best part is, once I have the legal protection of being his wife, I'm going to destroy them. All of them, starting with that smug Princess Steffi. Deacon will be the perfect alibi. Oh, I was too sick to leave the house. My devoted husband Deacon can attest. And when they finally figure it out, he'll be so tangled in my web, he'll go to prison as my accomplice. It's perfect." She laughed again, a sound so devoid of humanity that it sent a shiver down Taylor's spine. "I have to go, sugar. The old man will be getting worried. I'll call you later. Kiss the baby for me. Oh, and don't worry, Deacon will never find out. He's too blinded by the idea that he can save a monster." She hung up. Taylor didn't move. Deacon, however, felt the floor fall out from under him. He had been played. Not just played, demolished. Every gentle moment, every tear, every whispered fear in the dark was a lie, a performance. He had opened his heart, the one thing he swore he'd never do again after Hope's mother, after all of it, and Sheila Carter had walked right in and set up a demolition crew. He saw red. Taylor grabbed his arm, her nails digging in. Don't, not yet. Deacon's face was a mask of fury. Let go of me, Taylor. If you confront her now, she'll lie, she'll cry, she'll gaslight you until you're the one apologizing. I've seen her do it 100 times. You need to hear it from her, all of it, and she needs to know she can't hide behind a fake illness anymore. Taylor pushed the door open. Sheila was reapplying her lipstick, a deep, vengeful red. She froze, the tube clattering into